Good morning. Thank you, Garit, for the introduction. This is certainly an important meeting. It's a highlight of a lot of the research that has been done over the past year, and much of it over multiple years. So I am the executive director of the Administrative Committee for Pistachios, but in addition to that, also work with the California Pistachio Research Board, which is why we're here today for all the research. Okay, so last year I went over shipments. I wasn't going to do it again this year, but I had requests to go over this. The ACP, or the Administrative Committee for Pistachios, puts out shipping reports annually. We do it monthly, and we frequently get calls on, certainly often from reporters, but from growers as well, and just trying to better understand the shipping report. So I'm going to go ahead and go through this again. So we'll start with, to understand the shipping reports, you really have to look at 3 years, 3 seasons. And so we'll start, although I'm going to go over mostly the 2024-2025 shipments, you have to step back into 2023-2024 to understand what's happening or what happened for the past season. So if we look here, 2023-2024 carryover, we had 185 million pounds total. Of that, we had 102 million pounds of open end shell. The balance that's missing here, the other 83 pounds, is closed shell, shelling stock, and kernels. And so, but I'm going to really just focus on open shell because that's the primary product that we're looking at. So if you look at the 2024 crop, we had a record 1.11 billion pounds harvested. That was an off year. So we have a total available crop to sell in 24-25 of 2 billion pounds. So that's the 1.11 plus the 185 million gives us this total for sale. So if we go to shipments, we have 939 million pounds that have been shipped, or that were shipped in 2024-2025. Of that, 702 million pounds were exported, which represents 75% of that total. And then here we have 629 million pounds, again, of open end shell. And then just for comparison, we had 153 million pounds of domestic end shell shipments. So 702 million was exported and 153 million remained in the U.S. So what does that look like in terms of destinations? So you can see here's our top 10 export destinations. So China, Germany, Vietnam, Spain, India, Italy, Turkey, UAE, Canada, and Netherlands. Almost an identical list to last year. The only difference is that the Netherlands popped up here and Mexico dropped off. And there's been a couple of movements internally in the top 10 list. But let's look at what that looks like for the top 11 when we add the U.S. So U.S. For the 2024-2025 season was the top destination in terms of the amount of pistachios sold. And then you have China and the rest of the list. But what's interesting about this is that if you look at this list, everyone talks about China as the primary destination. But if we think about the EU, we have Germany, Spain, Italy, and the Netherlands. And when you add that up, that adds up to about 183 million pounds, and that would put them in the number 2 spot. When you add the other 24 EU countries, it actually adds up to about 253 million pounds, and that would put them in the top spot. So the EU is a very important destination for our product. So what does 2025 2026, the current season that we're in, look like right now? So we had for 2024, 2025, our carryover was 114 million pounds. 81 million pounds of that was open in-shell. Our crop came in at 1.59 billion pounds, just slightly under our estimate. That was harvested, with a total available crop of 1.71 billion pounds. So that's this 1.59 plus the 114. So shipments to date, when we're looking at September through December, we've shipped 491 million pounds. Of that, 405 has been exported, which represents about 83% of those totals. Of this 405, 382 is open in-shell. And then again, for comparison, 53 million pounds has stayed here in the U.S. Let's do a crop overview. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because you actually lived through this. So let's work through this here. So 2024 was a record-breaking off year, producing 1.11 billion pounds on 489 bearing acres. That averaged out to about 2271 pounds per acre, 2,271 pounds per acre. Estimated crop this year was 1.6 billion. We ended up with 1.59 billion, so just slightly under. We had a cool winter with good chill. Bloom overlapped well for males and females with some extreme heat during April, some unusual heat. Our June and July heat were mild compared to 2024. If you remember July of 2024, there was only one day that was under 100. Everything else was over 100, and we had probably about 12 to 15 days that were over 105 with some excessive heat between 112 and 115. So a very different season. Adequate water, but we certainly are feeling the effects of Sigma. Non-uniform nut maturity has been experienced throughout the state, primarily in the South Valley, but there are northern orchards that were also experiencing that. We're attributing that to perhaps carbohydrate storage or lack of. Unknown, but that's what we suspect, and we do have a couple of proposals this year that have not been reviewed yet, that the board, I'll talk about that in a minute, that the board will look at and decide if that's something that we want to pursue in terms of learning more about the value and the importance of carbohydrates. Mid-September rains and October rains, they really did cause some harvest issues and some quality issues that we're still experiencing now. And so there certainly was some increased nut damage in terms of staining and some other issues. So in terms of harvest itself, again, 1.59 billion pounds on 502 bearing acres. That comes out to about 3,200 pounds per acre, with California representing 99% of that, and the balance coming from Arizona and New Mexico, which is what the federal marketing order, the administrative committee for pistachios represents. Did have that delayed harvest, poor removal. We had a lot of start and stops as a result of the poor maturity and the rain that we had. Open in-shell represents about 81% of the total crop. Starting out, nuts were clean, medium to small, through September until we got to those mid-September rains, and then we started to see hull breakdown, stain, shell damage, and then, of course, the insect and the mycotoxin presence, which, again, processors are dealing with right now. So 2026 crop outlook. How much time do I have? I don't see the clock on there. Am I good? I'm good. Keep rolling. Okay, they told me to keep rolling. All right, so 2026 crop outlook. Weather conditions. Well, you've all experienced this. Mostly cool, wet, and foggy weather. It's been great weather. Certainly more fog than we've seen in a long, long time. Snowpack is currently at 86% of normal statewide. As of January 15th, we do need some more snow to get us through the summer and to make sure that allocations of water deliveries are good. Precipitation statewide is above average. We have zero drought right now. This is the first time that this has happened in 25 years, and that's been a long time. The entire state has zero drought. Now, will that last? If we continue to have the weather that we're having now, it will hold. But really, what we're trying to do is make sure that we maintain that moisture as we get into the growing season and certainly the summer months, and that's where the snowpack is going to become important. State reservoirs are above historical levels right now. If you look at the DWR website, everything pretty much is well above or at capacity, which is great. Again, in terms of allocation for agriculture, that's good for us. So we're certainly meeting our chill needs, chill portions at 65, and chill hours, or 800 to 1,000 hours are needed. So let's take a look at where we're at with that. So the California Pistachio Research Board has decided to invest in a weather network. A lot of people have used the CIMMYS stations in the past, and CIMMYS has been a great resource. It's still a great resource, but it's not as reliable as it used to be. And depending on where you're at, there may be the closest CIMMYS station may be 30 miles away from you, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you have the same climate as where the station is. So the CPRB has put in its own weather network. So let me walk through this. We have the county, chill portions, chill units, precipitation, and then the N equals the number of stations in those counties. So the current network is 25 stations. If you look here, these are 20 stations. These are the ones that have been in the longest. We just added another 5 stations, and we're going to add probably another 5, maybe 6, because we only have 1 here in Kings County and like to have 2 in every county. So we've added more stations from Modesto North up into Davis, Sacramento, and then into Chico. And we're going to add some more additional stations up there so we can really get a good idea of what the climate looks like with respect to chill throughout the state. So if you look here, chill portions, on average we need about 65. We're averaging about 40. And then on chill units, less than 45, we're averaging about 611 statewide. And then precipitation, just note that we've had more precipitation than this. This represents November 1st through January 15th. And for these stations, this is what we've had for this date. So we're looking like we're in pretty good shape. If you look here, these are some NASA photos. This is December 14th. You can see the Tule fog buried in the valley here. Here's the Sierras. You can see that there's very little snow on December 14th. Here on December 29th, you can see that we had a pretty good storm come through, and it was a pretty well developed storm that dumped a lot of snow, which is good for us. Here you can see Lake Tahoe, and right here is, I just got this morning, Sugar Bowl and Donner Ski Ranch. I don't know how many people ski or snowboard. But I get a report every now and again, and they have about 30 to 50 inches of packed groomed snow. So there's your ski report for today. So what is the crop outlook? We're going into an off year. Currently, bud counts are average, and tree health looks good. Chill is averaging 40 portions, or 611 units. We have good precipitation and good fog. 502,000 bearing acres at 2,000 pounds. That's about what has been the average, somewhere around there, for off years. We're looking at about a billion pounds. But if we look at, if we have like a really good off year at 2,500 pounds, we're looking at 1.25 billion pounds. And then 2,800 pounds, we're looking at 1.4. I'm guessing when I go back and look at the data, we're probably in last year, or the last off year was 1.1 billion pounds. We'll probably be somewhere in this area here. Anyone think that we're going to be over 2,800 pounds or 1.4 billion pounds this next year? I can't see anybody's hand. I'm just going to assume that everybody's raising their hand. Okay, sounds like we're going to have a good year. So let's talk about research. So this is one of my favorite photos. This was taken in 2025. This is the greenhouses that are at UC Davis where some of the pistachio research is being conducted. So this was a nighttime shot. Got this shot just for you. It was about 3 in the morning to get this shot. Let's talk about research. So I like this quote from Dean Hess, who was a dean from 1975 to 89. Agriculture research is not a luxury, it's a necessity. The productivity of our farms and the sustainability of our environment depends on it. And that's surely a true statement back then as it is now. This is a shot here of the California Pistachio Research Board members visiting Davis, and we went to go visit the breeding program. Hadn't been done in a long time, if ever. And this gave them a great opportunity to see what's in store for new varieties coming out. And a lot of people think, well, why are we even spending any money on new varieties? Pistachios are going to be in the ground for 100 years. And if everything was constant, that would be right. Got it. That would be right. We would not need new varieties. But between climate change, which is happening, and the political climate, which is taking away tools and allowing invasive pests and diseases to come in, and things that can get established that we don't even know about, we really do need to think about having and being prepared for with new, the industry with new varieties. And so this was a great opportunity for them to experience that. So this is the board. This is the folks that spend your money wisely. They spend a lot of time reading through the proposals. I spend a lot of time meeting with the researchers and making sure that we are on the right track and that we are getting a return on the dollars that you are assessed, and making sure that the research is meaningful to your production. We do have our UC research liaison, Julia Moreno. I think Julia is in the audience here. And then we have a couple of public members that keep us honest and just try to understand the decisions that are being made by the board here. So just to go over the research here, these are the topic areas. In 2025, we had 37 research projects totaling $2.45 million. A lot of that research you're going to experience here today, so I encourage you to listen to what the researchers have to say, ask the tough questions of the researchers, and help them and guide them in making changes to the research that's being done. They don't know everything that's happening out in the field, and so the interaction between growers and researchers is very important. In 2026, we have 46 research projects submitted for funding, with 19 of those being new. The total request is $3.56 million. If we look at just proposals from last year, the continuing projects, it's $2.1 million requested for continuing projects. And you're wondering why that doesn't add up to that? It's because we have projects that have dropped off, they've finished their 3 years, and so some projects are not weren't resubmitted for funding. Researchers come from UC, CSU, USDA, and other research entities, either in the state or outside the state. This is just the same slide, but this is different. So these are just the different groups that we're working with currently. So what are the headwinds for the pistachio industry? Certainly climate, water. Mycotoxins is a big one. We continue to battle the aspergillus fungi and the mycotoxins that they produce, so aflatoxin and ochratoxin. But we also, there's also an eye on the toxins produced by Alternaria species. And so that's another area that we're starting to look at. We do have a proposal that is in to better understand the Alternaria toxins. There's 4 to 5 of them. The EU is very focused on mycotoxins, and so that is why we will be looking at having some research done in that area. And then invasive pests. I don't know how many of you get the newsletter from the CDFA with the number of invasive pests that come in and what they're going to do to rate them. It's an unbelievable amount. Now, not everything is going to impact pistachios, but there are certainly going to be impacts on agriculture in general, and there could be stuff that comes into the state of California that impacts our industry. So we need to really remain vigilant. If you ever see anything that looks unusual, it's best to call a farm advisor or your consultant, or give me a call and we'll figure out who we need to take that sample to, whether it's an insect or a disease or just some abnormal growth. We need to make sure that we get that identified so we don't have another Gill's millibug incident. And then loss of IPM tools. So these summaries, they're out front. Again, encourage you to pick one of these up. There's a lot of important data and information in there, certainly things that can help you in your production practices. If there's anything in here that you're not understanding, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I can certainly get together with you and the researcher, and we can better understand what the results mean. And then finally, I just want to thank, this is the staff that helps me do my job. So Cindy Dean, our office manager, Laura Larson, our compliance officer, and Fabian Hurtado, our special projects coordinator. I'd like to give them a real round of applause because they really do a lot of hard work, in a short period of time to get that information out to the industry. So let's give them a hand. And with that, have a great season. I'll be around. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Greet, and we will keep moving.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, before the next